I mean, Diane, if you think about these kind of, I mean, Navjeet, I mean, the moment we met, I was like, oh my goodness. I'm like, returns have always been this like, dirty little secret that nobody wants to talk about because it's a challenge, right? There's not really anything positive to be said about it, except, how can we kind of stop it before a return, before a return occurs? And that's why I think this, the CRO, the Chief Returns Officer, is such an amazing technology. How are you seeing kind of the mindset shift around returns, whether it's from the consumer perspective or corporates? Where are we, especially with like sustainability is the real foundation for so many conversations right now?
Well, you hit on all of the topics. Number one is, as stores start to look at, their operating metrics, it becomes even harder for them to be, for a store team to be dinged, if you will, with returns just because they happen to be in a convenient location for customers to have returned their online purchases. So that creates friction within the organization and challenges to address. And then, as Navjeet said, there is virtually no retailer that carries a cookie cutter assortment everywhere. So invariably, you're going to get product return that you don't carry. You have no way to properly merchandise it. So typically, even if it's in its prime selling season in that store, it's going to end up going on the clearance rack. Plus the whole, as you talked about, the logistical challenges of what do you do with them? How do you box them up? How do you handle any, packaging or, the recycling of anything that comes back with it? It's creating an operational challenge at the same time that retailers are having trouble finding staff, right, to greet the customer. So it's a perfect storm, if you will, that, as you say, a Chief Returns Officer is perfectly targeted to really help reduce that significantly. So,
well, Diane, in fact, there is a story I haven't shared with you guys yet. So I remember in February, we were hearing from some retailers saying that some of their stores on a daily basis were doing negative sales, meaning they were getting more returns than they were actually selling. So imagine if the store associates are commissioned based on the sales, how are they getting impacted with that? And that's a huge problem, right? Retailers need to look or think broadly in terms of setting the expectation at the store level, how the store is being credited or debited for the returns coming from online.
And so many things about that happened after store reopenings really highlighted some of the behind the scenes, under the covers silos that still exist in many retailer systems, right? So handling an online return in store usually has challenges. Even with an integrated system, there are some cases where you can't pull that transaction up and you need to do it, as a separate procedure. It's adding a level of complexity at a time when there's enough other levels of complexity being added, just dealing with the current scenario. So anything we can do to reduce that friction is obviously so important.